Hi, this is Jeff Lesher with What's the Point? And the point this week is that we're gonna start doing things a little bit differently than we've been doing them. We're still gonna talk about leadership. I hope we have good conversation, that this inspires thought and action on your part. And in order for me to be true to myself, and I think most helpful to you, we've got to talk about issues in a little more of I'd say an honest way. In other words, leadership is something that we often experience in government as much as in business and organizations. And if we don't talk about leaders in all facets of our lives and the examples that they're setting, good and not so good, then we're being dishonest. I'm being dishonest, and I'm not really doing my job at helping you understand the issues and to move you to productive action in the way that I'm really passionate about. And it's very hard to, in 5 minutes or less, say something that has a lot of weight. So I'm going to keep trying to do that. I may go a little bit over time, but I want you to know that I'm not coming at this from a politically specific point of view. I'm trying to look objectively at the examples that are out there and use those to really illustrate and amplify the imperative that we should all feel as leaders or people who aspire to leadership. So for today, I'm going to try to talk about the following things. First of all, what is a leader? Just in a macro sense. What is a good leader? Certainly. Second, what is the application of safety, good and not so good? And then third, what is the role of facts in the pursuit of truth? So let's start with the definition of leadership. So in a macro sense, leadership is commonly defined as getting a group of people together to pursue a common objective, a common purpose, a common outcome. And I would add to that outcome is good. It's for the betterment of the group, and it's for the betterment of the society in which that group resides. So leadership, while it can be misused, I don't think that it's appropriate to say that leadership is for ill. So we're going to make that distinction right off the bat. Now, the second issue is safety. Simon Sinek talked about this. Google researched it. We understand on some level that creating an environment in which people feel somewhat immunized from dire consequences if they make a mistake, that's the kind of safety we're talking about, then they can be better at pursuing that common outcome, and that common outcome for good or better that leadership is about. The problem is that there are too many leaders who create a sense of fear of those outside the group, and they use that to garner your allegiance, to make them more powerful as the leader, that they're protecting you from some ill. Without them, the Huns will come over the walls essentially, and it can be a human thing or a circumstantial thing. And I would say, just like not pursuing a positive outcome, an outcome for good or for better, that making you afraid of things that you believe are other than yourself, that's bad. And at best, it's bad leadership, and at worst, it's not leadership at all. It's fear-mongering, it's demagoguery, it's all kinds of things. And so where you see that, I would say turn and run the other way as one option, or better, stand and fight it. Call it out. Call BS on that. We're not afraid of the environment. We have the opportunity to influence it. We're not afraid of people who look and sound different from us. They make us better. We need to come to a manageable way in which to coexist. That's what good leadership and leadership for good is about, and we should be for. Not issue specific, as an illustration of what the misuse of leadership, or what masquerades as leadership, is. So that's the definition, with the addition of for good or better. And that's a little bit about this idea of safety being turned on its head, and it's the creation of fear and using that to leverage power. And here's the third part. facts. So decades ago, George Orwell wrote this book, 1984, which weirdly is more and more prophetic the longer ago it was written. Like, it's more relevant today than then by a ton. You should reread it. And when you do, there are a couple of quotes, at least ballpark, paraphrase, that should stand out to you. One is that the party, that's Big Brother, those are the bad guys, if you will, they don't want you to believe what you see and hear. You should disregard and disbelieve what you see and hear, essentially the facts. That's weird counsel from leadership, and it's counsel that we're getting right now at this moment, and it does not reflect good leadership. In fact, it should say to all of us, regardless of our political stripe, that's wrong. Now, I can interpret what I see and hear differently and form my own version of the truth, but not start with the disregard of facts in order to just simply feel the way I want to feel, regardless of what's out there. Now, that's stupid, folks. That's just being stupid, and you're being led by the nose if you follow somebody who tells you to disbelieve. And part of the party's creed in 1984 is that those who control the past control the future. And here's the really scary part. Those who control the present control the past. So again, this idea that we can just make shit up, apologize for the language, and then base all of our conclusions on the stuff that we wish was true or we decide happened but didn't, because there are objective things that simply exist, that were said, that were done, that are on freaking video. And people who tell us to disregard, disbelieve, dismiss any of that, and the people who share it with us as being quote unquote human scum, they're not leaders. They are not leaders if we believe that leadership includes for good or for better. So that's chapter 1 of where I'm going with this. I hope you'll stay with me, because this is serious business about life, about work, about the combination of those things that influences the world in which we literally live. That's a correct use of the often misused word literally. And for us to pursue and achieve good and better, we got to stick together on this, folks. I need you, you need me. Let's fight the good fight. Let's create direction for good and better. Let's create safety that's not about fear. It's about the opportunity to fail in pursuit of learning and creating impact. And let's pay attention to facts. We can formulate the truth that we believe they lead us to, but the facts are the facts. Things that are actually said, things that are actually done, things that are actually seen, they're real. They're real. We got to start with that. Let's start today. That's the point. We got to get some work done, and we got to make the world better.